All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's been like a good month. How you doing?
Been a little bit more than a month. There's been a lot going on.
I know. Well, I actually have people asking me when our next episode is coming out. So for all of our biggest fans, here we are.
We are back.
We are back in action. And today we're not only back, but we're talking about the hottest topic in automotive. Mike, take it away.
What's up?
What is up?
Data's up.
Level up. We're giving away all of our best jokes. Level up with your data ups. Or,
I think
yeah.
one of the things when we were down at MRC at Pasha's conference, which was awesome, always a good
Yeah, it
spot,
was so
great
good.
venue, great conversations. I would say in the CDP world, there's always people are uncovering new workflows, and how does it help me here? Is it a marketing tool? Is it a data strategy tool? How can it help enable my business? And our own gave a really, really good speech on creating a new up within the industry, which is unveiled, how a CDP, can organize and see what people are doing before they submit a lead, and actually creating a new up. There's the floor up, the internet up, and now data ups, which was coming out, and was very well received. And also, it's just kind of a new thing that we see with our clients that are leveraging the CDP to get a deeper lens into what their customers are doing.
Yeah, I think also don't dealers always ask you, okay, so I'm going to implement a CDP, but how is it going to make me money? And then we always talk about how identity resolution and deduping and making sure that you're actually marketing to the specific customer, all of that is still there and important, but now it's data up is actually giving you a real way to monetize your data, basically, your first party data that's sitting there anyway. So it's missed opportunity if not.
Yeah.
So I think that's why dealers received it so well, and they're so excited because it really is a way for dealers to think about how they can be making money off of their CDP.
Yeah, I think if you look at how we've always operated within CRMs, all that, and I look at this from running a sales organization, is essentially if we ran Fullpath as the current state within AutoWorks, is that our team would only react to people when they would submit a lead. Meaning
Right.
It's a input that I'm then sending, and then it triggers the output, which is me, the salesperson at the dealership, to say, oh, looks like I got a lead from Ilana. Ilana is interested in this. Let me have a phone call conversation, and then I fall into it like my regular cadence. Now, that's more what I would call is reactive in terms of going after customers. But in the CDP side, on the data ups, is that now you can go up funnel and see what's happening on the site, meaning instead of me just waiting around to get information. And I'll also say, when you submit a lead on a website and it goes into the CRM, it's frozen and in time. So you have no other information of what's happening.
That's very good. That's a very good point.
So
It doesn't get updated. So what happens with that lead the next day and the next day, and how is their intent changing based on their behavior?
Right.
Great point.
But also that if you do math, and I'm not good at math, but let's say you're really good and you do you have a 2.5% conversion rate on your website, 97.5% of your consumers are out there browsing and shopping. Meaning, if I'm in my CRM and I'm working my database, I could easily see that if I'm Ilana and I'm on the site and I'm all over the site, I'm looking at these VDPs, I'm interacting with marketing. What do I need to be nudged over the top to then say, okay, the intent, meaning the propensity for Ilana in this case to convert, is, through the roof. I need to either, drop an SMS or a phone call or have someone, make that conversation. Whereas the current state is I get an inbound and now I get an outbound communication, which is just an in and out. And now you're opening up a whole different kind of lens of the customers.
Yeah, and also just from a marketing perspective, I would also say that the lead scoring aspect is really important. So Arn touched on this on his keynote, and he actually touched on this also. We did a short webinar about data ups last week, which was, or it was actually earlier this week. I don't even know what day it is, but it was earlier this week. And it's so interesting because when we actually did our investigation and research on our current client base, we saw that the marketing lead score for these non-hand raisers for these data ups are actually, in most cases, not always, obviously in most cases, much higher than the people submitting leads. People might be submitting a lead because they want to know what, they want to get a trade-in estimation, or they want to know something specific, versus someone who's actually super high intent, isn't actually converting, but is doing tons of research. Their score might be a 9 versus someone who raised their hand and is a 4. So it's like missed opportunity, but also missed opportunity of way higher intent potentially, which is obviously what our dealers care about. Like, how can I sell more cars? You can sell more cars to high intent buyers. So that's also just like an interesting thing that we've been talking about. Okay, question for you, Mike, especially as an automotive vet. What do you think the industry needs to do? Obviously, before I get to this, we're talking a lot about data ups. We're putting out a lot of resources for dealers, and at NADA, we're going to go gung-ho on this. What do you think dealers need to do to implement a system that will be able to handle data ups? Is it like having a data manager in the dealership? Is it having some kind of AI layer on top? Is it like what do you is it pushing it to the CRM as a new up type? Like what do you envision?
I envision a lot, but I'll pack it.
Where should we start?
Yeah,
how can we make it practical? Yeah.
Let me go get a whole
revolution here.
Let me go get a whole bottle of wine. No, I do think I've said this before. I would say holistically, if you look at like the departments in a dealership, there is, there's the GM, the marketing director, you have internet director, you have BDCs and whatnot. I do think that as data is becoming more accessible, and B, more actionable with that data, I personally think in 2025, the more progressive dealers will have someone that's more of a data analyst, that will actually work with the dealership's data to be more targeted, because you have that much more information. Again, I was on a call with a client earlier this week, and we were going over SMS, which we just rolled out. If you guys saw the awesome live
shameless plug.
But I was going through it and explaining to him, and what he thought was like, well, there's a bunch of SMS tools out there. Like, what's the difference between yours and someone else's? And I said, okay, well, let's just go into your database. What are you trying to move this month, right? You have 15 days left in the month. He said, well, we have a lot of Tahoes. And I said, great. Let me go in. I'll build an audience of anyone that has an intent score of 8 to 10 and they haven't bought a car. And also let's pull out anyone that hasn't submitted a lead. And we had 147 people that were there. Now, when I showed that really kind of, that's where the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, wow, I can go way up funnel in terms of doing that. But if you think about what a dealership has to do on a daily basis, if you have a BDC and you have all this stuff, there's a lot. Now, what is really impactful with the AI capabilities is that you can supplement that to go in and query and say, all right, here is, the parameters that I want as a quote data up, which require a little bit more salesmanship, because I haven't given you any information, right? I know because of the CDP resolved. So, I
mean, at some point you have, but it could have been 10 years ago, meaning your PII is there, but.
Right. Yeah. So I think the two kind of like lens is like, A, is you have someone that's more focused on like audience, or maybe you call them an audience manager or something like that. On the service side, you get into a whole different like arena of like, do I own my backyard, and how many dealers am I bringing back in to retain my own customers? If you guys saw, we also announced a partnership with Reynolds, and in our conversations with them, with Brad Title and the team over there, it's opened up a whole different lens of that area. Is like, if I know all my customers within a 10-mile radius of my dealership, and they haven't been in for service, the offer that I send to those people is going to be way more aggressive than someone that's 25, 30, 40 miles out.
Right.
So now that is like who is going to do that? Is it the AI? Is it the data person that's framing the audiences and then you're setting the system to go? I think it's a blend of both, but it's very much needed because the visibility of the data is plentiful now. But now, what do you do with the data is really where it becomes impactful.
Yeah, I mean, it just always goes back to our Finding Nemo conversation. Like 2022, 2023, excuse me, was the year of like CDP education and implementation potentially. And now we're like, okay, you have it implemented. How do you make it actionable? How do you monetize it? The now what? Just picture those fish.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think
at NADA is you should, everyone come to the Fullpath booth, and we're making up this live. We'll give you
oh God, here we go.
We'll give you a beverage, and you'll start the day in the conference hall. And anytime you hear the word AI, you have to take let's call it a quarter shot, because you will have to hear all of them. And then we'll meet back at the booth and see how many people are standing. I
don't think many people will be standing, but we could definitely try that. That sounds really, really fun and super irresponsible. But New Orleans, so you could just drink on the street, right?
That's right.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so data ups, talk of the town. Come to find us at NADA. Go to fullpath.com/NADA-2025. You can find us all there. A few things we're doing at NADA. I'm going to use this. I know we'll it's 5 o'clock somewhere one more time before NADA, but just so people know, we're going to have wrapped cars all around, VIP service. So look for that. Happy hour. Obviously, we'll be giving out tons of swag and tons of information and thought leadership around data ops. And Mike's going to be pitching on the big stage on Friday, so we're looking forward.
We got the approval yesterday, which is a surprise. We're excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to kick ass.
Bring ahead on all the buzzwords. CDP.
Yeah. Well,
AI.
You're just going to say AI like 100 times so that everyone can just
AI
consume.
and data up. That's all I got to do. It's
great.
like an NPC. I'll just hit the button and it'll send it out.
It's going to be really fun. All right. Thank you, Mike. It was good to be back here with you. And I hope our biggest fans enjoyed this one.
Yes. We'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.